And welcome to the second part of these update videos. This time we're gonna take a look at a bunch of comedy films. Let's see what order we should do this in. Okay, so we got a theme going here. Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, first of all. I actually got this first, and I own these on DVD. I've seen them a couple times. Well, yeah, I think I've seen them both a couple times before, and I like them a lot. But I didn't own the Blu-rays, and recently I was on this. I'm not sure if it was on Reddit or on Blu-ray.com or what, but I was looking at. It was a thread about an older thread about what Blu-ray editions were the people's favorites. I like in terms of extras. Like I guess I was curious about what Blu-ray editions had. What Blu-ray editions out there have really great extras basically. And I found out that Edgar Wright's films, they are really generous with the commentaries and the making of documentaries and stuff. And I'm not sure that I knew that. I mean, I didn't really know to what extent that was, but I bought them. Hot Fuzz, first of all, is the first one that I saw, and it says very modestly here: outtakes, featurettes, audio commentaries, and much more. Usually, when you get this much more, that means like a trailer. But no, you know, they'll write and more, but it's really not that much more. No, this is the most true and much more that I've ever seen in terms of bonus features. There's just an absolute ridiculous amount of stuff. I mean, first of all, I saw the movie again, which I very much enjoyed. It's a really, I think I actually kind of prefer this over this one, which I don't think I would have said before, but I think maybe I do now. But they're pretty equal. Anyway, so I saw the movie again, and then I went on to the bonus features. I think there's like 5 audio commentaries. There's a student film that Edgar Wright made, or a film that he made earlier on in when he was in his maybe early 20s or something, maybe even teens. I'm not quite sure. And there's an audio comment. I didn't watch that, but there's 1 or 2, I think, audio commentaries for that. Then there's a documentary about when they went to the United States to promote the film, which is like feature length. And then there's an audio commentary for that documentary. And then we have like hours of behind the scenes material. Really great stuff. And so I just spent, I think I spent like 10 hours all in all with this Blu-ray, and that's like half. Like there's a couple commentaries that you're gonna have to be a pretty hardcore fan to listen to. I guess, I mean, Edgar Wright, he's one of these, when I think of like nerdy film fan directors, I mean, I'll think of Scorsese. Maybe he has some more class to him in his nerdiness, I don't know. Whatever that means. And then I'll think of Tarantino, of course. And then I think of Edgar Wright. And I guess it makes sense that for him as a movie buff, most likely as a Blu-ray and DVD collector himself, he's gonna wanna put a lot of extras on his Blu-rays. He really seems to get a kick out of that, or at least he did with these, especially Hot Fuzz. There's just so much stuff, but yeah, so really great release. I had so much fun with that. And then after that I received Shaun of the Dead, which doesn't have quite as much, once again, much more. I think in terms of commentaries it might be about the same, maybe, but when it comes to documentaries, behind the scenes stuff, making of, there's not as much, but still a lot of stuff to enjoy. I will say about this movie, I mean, when it comes to Hot Fuzz, I mean, he made this before Hot Fuzz, so I guess it makes sense that he would evolve with his next film. But I feel like with Hot Fuzz there's so much to enjoy, so many great little jokes that you may not even pick up on the first time. I feel like that's not entirely the case with this. There's definitely less going on in this. That doesn't mean it's any worse for that reason alone, but it does mean that because I had seen both before, this felt like it wasn't as interesting to me as Hot Fuzz was to revisit, if that makes sense, because I guess there were more things about Hot Fuzz that I had forgotten about. But there are some, I mean, they are, I'm not saying this is doesn't deserve to have the status it has. I'm just saying that my preference for Shaun of the Dead before may have been swayed a little bit when I rewatched them now a few weeks ago. But anyway, they are both great. I love the scene in this movie when, I mean, they're out fighting, so they're out, you know, fighting zombies basically. Well, that's maybe not the goal, but so they have their little entourage or their little group, and then they bump into this other group who probably have their story too, but we only see them very briefly when they pass each other and then they greet each other. I love that scene because they're played by like Tamsin Gregg, Matt Lucas, who else? There was someone else, I don't remember who it was. But I love when you have big actors like that just doing very little, like they have like a couple lines, but you know, when you get someone really talented to only do a couple things, I love when you do that. All right. Anyway, so we got those two, and because of that, I also bought Baby Driver. Because what the hell, I saw this in the movie theater, so it hadn't been that long. So I didn't rewatch the movie now. I did listen to some of his commentary. And then I saw the bonus features. I don't know, I mean, it makes sense now, now that, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna say that bonus features have died out, but I feel like when it comes to studios, I feel like they were sometimes maybe a bit more generous with features back before when they started experimenting with them. Nowadays it's very sort of standard, and so in a way maybe it makes sense for a newer movie from Edgar Wright to have less bonus features than, say, Hot Fuzz. But there is a quite lengthy documentary. So the reason why I talk about that over the movie is, you know, because I had seen all the bonus features of that, and I just kind of wanted to continue with this. The film is great. I mean, I saw it in the theater, like I said, and I really remember liking it a lot. So, and then I also bought I bought this, Paul, which I had seen before. I remember not really liking it too much. I did enjoy it more now, but it's still not my favorite. There's a lot of actors I like in this, some funny moments, but to me, I'm not sure that it drags, but it's just not my favorite. But this one has a shitload of extras too, so I enjoyed going through all that. And I also bought Run Fat Boy Run, which I had seen before, really enjoyed. It's probably been like close to a decade since I saw it. I think I think I've seen this twice actually, and I think and I didn't rewatch it again now, but I did listen to the commentary, or most of it anyway, which is with David Schwimmer. Who directed the film, and Simon Pegg, and Thandie Newton, and maybe someone else. It was a pretty dull commentary, honestly. Not really much happening, so I didn't listen to the whole thing. But I do like the movie. I mean, I'm glad to own it. Of course, I bought it now because of, you know, Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost. I kind of wanted to get all those movies to enjoy again. So I've had a good time with all that. I still have actually Scott Pilgrim, which I've had in my collection for a while. I have the Blu-ray. I didn't even realize that I had it, but I am getting ready to watch that at some point. So here we have one more Blu-ray, and after that it's all DVDs. Daddy's Home 2. I had been looking forward to this because I actually kind of liked the first one, and I like the premise of this. Their father's coming into the picture. This is about sort of a Christmas celebration, and I actually enjoyed it. I hadn't really heard very good things about it, but I did personally enjoy it. There's not really too much more I want to say about it, but yeah, I liked it. We got a couple of random ones here. Private Parts with Howard Stern. Sort of about, this is a very old DVD as you can see here from the design, but it's sort of about his life. He plays himself as he grows up and as he becomes a radio talk show host, whatever it's called. And yeah, I do like Howard Stern actually. I mean, I don't listen to his show or anything, but I've seen him on Letterman a couple of times. He was on Letterman's Netflix show, and I usually appreciate whatever he has to say. He might have softened a little bit over the years. I mean, he's in his 60s now. I do remember actually my mom showing me a clip of Howard Stern when I was like 10 or 11 or something, about them mocking, they sort of prank called, this is just a random fun memory, I might as well share it. Howard Stern and the others on the show, they prank called, I'm not sure if it was a Chinese lady who was like a clock maker or something. She was working with clocks, but she couldn't pronounce L, so obviously there was a joke, an obvious joke there, and I remember my mom showed me that clip. She thought that was funny a long time ago. So I've known about him for a long time too. So anyway, so I enjoyed the film. It wasn't bad. It was nothing I'm gonna watch again, but I enjoyed it. The Wrong Guys. John Goodman is in this, and then Richard Lewis and Louis Anderson, and he's actually the reason why I ended up buying this now, because I've been streaming a lot of stuff lately, among all these shows that I've been watching, which I may get more opportunities throughout these updates to talk about some more of them, hopefully. But one of the shows that I've seen, otherwise I suppose I could make a separate video, but there's so much, I don't know really where to start. Anyway, one of the shows that I've been watching is Baskets, with Zach Galifianakis, and his mom in the show is played by Louis Anderson, but not in a weird, like, haha, man plays a woman kind of thing, but more in just very odd but strangely suitable casting. He's a man, he plays a woman, not transsexual or transgender. He just plays a woman, and it just works, and he's really great. And Louis Anderson, I listened to a podcast, he was on Chris Hardwick fairly recently, and he talked about, it was a very emotional interview, he talked about him basically playing his mother on the show. He didn't feel like he was the one he didn't really feel like he was acting, he just felt like he was his mother. I think he said something like that, like he got an Emmy nomination or something, but he feel like the Emmy nomination should have gone towards his mother or something. Not that it actually should have, but he just meant that he didn't really need to act that much, because he just sort of channeled his mother to a large extent. But anyway, whatever he does, he's very talented in the show, he is very good in the show. And he really moved me, especially in season 2. There are some really profound moments actually. I haven't been able to watch season 3 yet. It's not available where I'm watching it on this Swedish streaming service. But I really loved Baskets. So, as I tend to do when I enjoy something or someone in something, I look up what else they've done. And Louis Anderson hasn't really done a lot. Like, he's a stand-up comedian. Baskets, that's like the first like real quote unquote like acting job he's done, like, as far as I know. But I did find this movie, obviously, long story short, that's how I found this movie, and yeah, it had Richard Lewis in it as well, and John Goodman. So I bought it, and yeah, it's nothing great. I mean, I didn't expect this to be any better than it was, but it is actually kinda enjoyable. You'd have to be a fan of comedy to like it, but yeah, obviously I am. So yeah, it was okay. It was enjoyable. Okay, we have 2 movies from two different directors. I mean, 2 movies from one director and then another 2 movies from another director. So 2 small director specials here. I suppose I can show them at the same time. First, we have 2 by Brett Haley. This one he made first. I don't really know much about him, but that's the guy who directed these movies. I'll See You in My Dreams and then The Hero. Bought these both. No, actually, I bought this from a cheap Ginza sale. Then I bought this from Amazon. I talked about in part 1 about Sam Elliott, that I always like him, and he's in both of these. And but this is mainly about Blythe Danner, who's also one actress that I really like. A lot of the time I really do prefer the American DVD covers over the UK one or the Swedish one, because they really try to like soften it up, like make it look accessible and generic. Like a lot of American DVDs, they're much more artistic and they're much more suitable for what the movie actually is. So I really despise actually covers like these. That they just don't stand out. But I guess that's the point, and maybe people like that. I don't know. Anyway, it's not really that important. But anyway, I feel like they deserve better covers. This is not a masterpiece, but it is a really fun movie, and it's got other really good actresses. June Squibb, loved her since I saw her in Nebraska. Rhea Perlman, Molly Ackerman, Mary Kay Place. It's I guess a romantic comedy about people who are slightly older than what people normally make, who people normally make romantic comedies about. But yeah, I liked it actually. I thought that it was a pretty good film. And then I bought this because I just seen that. I bought this. Same director. This time it actually stars Sam Elliott. Sort of plays this. I mean, he's done a lot of westerns, but I haven't really seen any of them myself. I'd like to, but I haven't yet. But he actually plays a. I mean, he has the perfect look for it. So a lot of the time, movies and something like The Ranch, which he's in also, which I love that show actually. They utilize his appearance and his sort of persona as this western guy, you know, macho guy. And this movie does that too, I suppose. He plays an actor who is still remembered for this one role he did, like in the 70s, I think. This one western that he did. And he's sort of struggling with some, you know, acting jobs and that kind of thing. But it's really a starring vehicle for Sam Elliott, and he really is good in this. Nick Offerman is in this. I happen to know that he's actually in, I think he stars in Brett Haley's newest film, which I think is called something like Hearts Beat Loud, maybe? Which I'd like to see that too, because, I mean, these aren't masterpieces, these two, but they are very, very good films that I did like. Okay, now these other 2, they are comedy. Well, this is a drama comedy, I guess, but they're by Jason Reitman. Young adult. I watched recently, and I really liked it. I mean, it's about somebody who's kind of like an unlikable character, but that's sort of what the point is, and it deals with that really well. And I've become more of a fan of Charlize Theron recently. I've known about her for a long time, but I only really became a fan recently, for whatever reason. And she's very good in this, and Patton Oswalt is in this. He's also very good. Patrick Wilson is in this. I just saw him in Fargo season 2. I preferred season 1, but season 2 was also very good. Yeah, but it feels to me like a fairly realistic depiction of somebody who's got some, you know, problems with depression. He is definitely an alcoholic. It doesn't really put a nice bow on things at the end necessarily, but it has a more realistic ending, and I do like that. Yeah, it's definitely a film that I liked more than maybe I thought I would. I mean, I thought I would enjoy it, but I've been thinking about it a lot. Because I liked it, I had this. Now, in part 1 of this these updates, I said that I'm trying to watch some movies that I've had for a little bit longer, and this one I've had for a few years. Thank You for Smoking by Jason Reitman. So I I saw that as a no-brainer to check this out now. Now that I had just watched Young Adult. This is this is a character, a drama comedy kind of thing. This is more of a satire, like a political black comedy. Really, it's a completely different kind of film, but really good, really well written, really sharp dialogue, and it is a very good satire, starring Aaron Eckhart as this guy who is he's a lobbyist. He's sort of the promotional speaker for a cigarette company, or several cigarette companies, perhaps. So he has that job of being the one who people are gonna hate. So he has to be a good talker. And I feel like Aaron Eckhart, he played that role pretty well. I do like him from other stuff that I've seen. What else? Adam Brody. Again, Sam Elliott. He's appeared a lot in these two updates so far. Katie Holmes, David Koechner, Maria Bello too. There's some really good scenes with Aaron Eckhart, Maria Bello, and David Koechner. Then Rob Lowe, William H. Macy, Robert Duvall. So great cast, and a good film. So these are very different in genre. I do prefer these kinds of films. So I think they were. I like them equally. I feel like this one is the better film, but I feel like this one is the one that I would return to more. And speaking of Charlize Theron and Jason Reitman, they have actually collaborated again recently on a film called Tully, which I've heard about, but I haven't really been that excited about seeing it until I saw Young Adult. So now I'm trying to find. The Blu-ray is coming out pretty soon, so I'm gonna have to get that. So I'm looking forward to that. We got a few more here, a couple of movies. What Just Happened, De Niro. It's a mediocre film at best. De Niro plays a producer, he's in the movie business, and so there's a couple of funny scenes in terms of that. Like Sean Penn plays himself. He's got a few funny scenes. Same with Bruce Willis, he plays himself. John Turturro, Stanley Tucci. There are a few scenes that I did like that made me kind of chuckle, but overall it is very kind of sluggish, kind of mediocre actually. So not the best. I had known about that for a while, and I didn't really expect a very good film, but I was in the right mood for something like that, so I decided to check it out, and it's alright. This one was a bit different to what I was expecting. It's a British film that I think has done pretty well in the UK. What We Did on Our Holiday. This is directed by, I don't know what their names are, Andy Hamilton and Guy Jenkin. They made the show Outnumbered, which is a show that I really like. And this also is with Billy Connolly, who is one of my favorite people, period. Also Rosamund Pike, David Tennant. It is a comedy, but there's something that happens after a while regarding one of the characters, which I was totally not expecting. So it took a twist that I wasn't expecting, and for that reason I was a little bit let down in a way, because I didn't really entirely like what happened. But it's a good film. There's a scene. There's one scene that made me laugh out loud actually. They go to visit. They're sort of on the verge of breaking up, which they haven't told their children. But they go on a vacation to see their father, and was it David Tennant's brother, played by who was it? Ben Miller actually. Yeah, right there. He was in what's it called? Worst Week of Your Life, My Life. Yeah, I do like him. And Ben Miller's character, he has this pretty modern house, I guess. He's done pretty well. And one of the things he's installed is the clapping thing when the lights go out when you clap. And there's one part of the film where somebody has I don't know, performed some song or whatever, and everyone starts to clap, and the light starts to flicker, and I think Billy Connolly just looks around, just notices it, and they don't really make a big deal of it. But it's just such a funny scene, such a perfect little joke. Yeah, that's all. So it did have scenes like that I really liked. But overall, I wasn't all that crazy about it, I guess. I did have one more, but that's actually in the TV category, so I'm gonna save that for later. So look out for that, and thank you for watching.